was emotionally draining, it was strength sapping, it was high energy, it had so many of the right ingredients for a European Championship group game. A real thriller in the end, and the class really of Hazard and De Bruyne swinging the game in Belgium's favour, and they ran out victors in the end. But Denmark did create chances in that second half, but the energy levels, as was predicted at half-time, weren't as intense during that second half. But they've plenty to be proud of, and as I said, they'll have a slim chance when they go into their final group game. Kevin, absolutely wonderful game of football. It's the old cliche, but it was very much a game of two halves, and the class that Belgium had on the bench and finally did decide to introduce, it paid dividends for them.
It did. Listen, Denmark showed plenty of class as well. You know, as much as enthusiasm and energy in the first half to win the ball back and then score. You know, and the second half, as dominant as Belgium became at times, Denmark still created chances, still could have got that equaliser. The substitutions that Belgium were able to bring on, you know, De Bruyne and Hazard, the difference they made. It was a total different game in the second half. We had pieces and clips in the first half of, you know, the shape and how high Denmark were up the pitch. They had to drop in the second half. Belgium got a lot more possession and showed some real quality at times. I'd worry about them at the back still, but going forward they showed some class bits of football. Yeah,
when you think of it, Damien, we had very little on Belgium from the first half, yet it was a transformation in the second half, but all down to personnel.
Absolutely. Denmark, I think, made 5 substitutions, obviously because of the emotion of the last few days, but you look at the 3 substitutions that Belgium make. Witsel, obviously not a lot of impact. It's Hazard and De Bruyne. De Bruyne is your match winner. It's just 2 strokes of genius.
Yeah.
I feel really sorry for Denmark. I think that performance they've put in today would win most games at this level. So they can feel really hard done by. Echoing what Kevin said there, they've still had chances in the second half. They've tired somewhat, but they were still at it. Yeah, the game became a bit stretched, but the 2 goals to win the game, absolutely world class.
Yeah.
And for me, that's the game of the tournament so far. Had everything.
Yep, that second half certainly demonstrated exactly why Belgium are currently ranked the #1 team in the world. Absolutely blistering performance once those substitutions were made. Very emotionally charged game, naturally enough, and you know, it was wonderful in so many aspects. And one thing we didn't talk about was the contribution of the crowd. It was great to see a full stadium again, and they were so invested in that game, Damien. That contributed a huge amount to the whole occasion, didn't it?
Amazing, yeah. You could feel the emotion in the studio, just like I said, the same way you could feel everything that was going on at Park and Stadium on Saturday. So yeah, they brought an awful lot. I thought it brought Denmark's game, if it's possible, even to another level. Like I said, I've watched them an awful lot over the past couple of years. I'm sick of watching them, possibly. But it definitely brought another gear out of them. Certainly not out of Belgium in the first half.
Yeah.
And then obviously the second half, Denmark were always going to tire slightly because of the emotion of Eriksen and what have you. And then, listen, the changes that Belgium made.
Yeah.
De Bruyne has won the game single-handedly. Listen, I've been critical of Hazard as well. Just when you're watching him in the game, he mightn't even do it when he has the ball, but he just attracts players. So 2, 3 come over to him, and then there's 2 free elsewhere. So he did have a big impact as well in his own way.
He certainly did. We're going to have a look at the equaliser, and Lukaku started the move, but again, it was just a super move. And De Bruyne's part in this is bordering on genius, isn't it?
Absolutely, genius and calm. Vestergaard jumps in here. The minute he jumps in, Lukaku takes it away from him. They're in trouble. Kjaer obviously dives in, so you know they're always in trouble the minute they start breaking. But calmness from De Bruyne is absolutely ridiculous. The bit I love here, many midfielders here would be charging into the box. He just holds out, holds his position, realises where the space is, and then Hazard arrives late. Everybody's thinking, oh, it's the other Hazard that's going to be contributing, but no, it's Torgan that scores the goal. But De Bruyne, that's the top footballers, the world class, guys that make the difference. They just have utter calmness in their play, like he's playing out the back garden with his kids. Like I said, many forwards charge into the box there, not him. He just pulls out and sees the picture of the whole game.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant to watch. And Kevin, everything he does is so deliberate, and that was emphasised in the goal, which turned out to be the winning goal for Belgium.
Yeah, another type of goal, a fabulous goal. Listen, the build-up play again. We did Lukaku, I spoke about him before the game. Really strong here. You know, he didn't score tonight, but he's involved in both goals. In the first goal as well, you saw him, the one that put the ball into De Bruyne here. He's won strength, and then eventually, a bit of quick feet. Good footwork, lays it off. The two Lukaku's are involved. Good little touch. Or the two Hazards are involved. Two Hazards. One to the other. Great little touch. And De Bruyne on his left foot. He's sweet as a nut. Schmeichel is near post maybe, but I think it's just hit so sweetly, so cleanly. And again, it's another aspect to his game. Doesn't matter, left foot, right foot, strike of the ball, timing. You'd be expecting that's, the left winger / left back coming forward there. No, he knows where to be. He's the one in that position. Times it perfectly. Beautiful strike.
And to beat a goalkeeper like Schmeichel at his near post, I mean, that's unusual.
Yeah, no, listen, it was the cleanness of the strike.
Yeah.
We saw, I think it was in the Scotland game the other night, Andy Robertson got into a similar position and didn't have the confidence to do what De Bruyne did. He went to side-footed and into the keeper's hands. There's a player, confidence, world class, just puts it where he wants to put it. And there was no chance of Schmeichel saving it. His near post or whatever, there was no chance of him saving it.
Then we also had Eden Hazard entering the game in the second half, and not the greatest of seasons at Madrid, but he looks bang back at it.
Not the greatest year and a half, 18 months. I saw him in videos of him in training last week in the lead up to it. It's the first time I thought, you know what, he looks fit. You know when you see players and you can tell their body shape, whatever. I thought he looked fit, and this is a picture we didn't see in the first half. Belgium on the ball, and he was one of the reasons that, as Damien said, he attracts players to him. He takes his time. He doesn't lose it easily. It's like glue to his foot. And this was just Belgium able to hold onto the ball, and he was a key part of that. Get up the pitch. I said in the first half they didn't have one chance on goal.
No.
Second half he's involved obviously in the goal here, but they just, himself and De Bruyne coming on, changed the complexion of the game. And he could have come on today, and you know what? Damien was critical of how he came on and played the last day. I thought today it was the opposite. He came on and had a positive effect on the game. He said, getting Belgium up the pitch, which they couldn't do in the first. They couldn't get out of their back five in the first half, and he was a key reason for their better performance in the second half. Didn't set the world alight, but did enough to show that what I should be. I'm sure he's not happy. He's one of the best players in the world sitting on the bench. Did enough to show why he might be starting the next game.
Yeah, was that? I suppose it's a bit of a cameo appearance. I mean, he wasn't on for the 90 minutes, but has that? Was there a bit of redemption for Eden Hazard, Damien, in your view?
Listen, like I said, just there, even if he doesn't, create that with that magic, he just opens up space for other players. He does, I agree with Kevin, he does look sharper. He could be timing it just perfectly. I've questioned his drive in the past. He must have been, at the end of the Real Madrid season, he must have been thinking, right, I've 3 or 4 weeks now, I need to knuckle down and train as hard as I've ever trained to get fit and in shape. Could be timing right. He will play against Finland, you'd imagine, 60, 70 minutes to get more minutes under his belt. So he could be hitting top form by the time of the knockout phases. The one thing I would worry about, and you'll see from the chances, is the guys at the back. I think 3 out of 4 normal centre halves, 3 usually start out of 4, they're in their mid-30s and they look stiff. They're not very mobile. Vertonghen, I thought, was poor today. Vermaelen obviously came on. I think he's 35, 36. Denier wasn't great. So you worry about them at the back end of the pitch. They're called the golden generation, but the lads at the back, they're the golden oldies. They're no spring chickens.
Yeah, no, they might be very lucky that they have got a very, very good goalkeeper. And there are only 2 players in that squad, Kevin, under 25 years of age. They were called the golden generation. Is this their last chance at a major trophy for the moment?
Listen, it's a great chance. They've 2 games now, 2 wins. It was a tough game for them today. Denmark were always going to start like they did, and Belgium had to weather that. They went a goal down early, and they showed decent enough spirit and togetherness, and the players being off the bench to get them back into it. So they come out of that very happy. I'm like Damien, the back 3. For the first goal, Denier, how he gave that away and how he looked so lacklustre. Vertonghen was on his bum for numerous occasions in the first half and looked as stiff as I feel. So you'd worry about them there. Everywhere else on the pitch, they have enough to go into get to the very end of this tournament, whether they win it or not, but they have enough to get to the final. But you just worry about that back 3.
Yeah, and in fairness to Denmark, again, in that second half, while I suppose they were dominated by Belgium, they still restricted Belgium in terms of the number of chances they created, didn't they?
Belgium didn't have a chance in the first half, didn't have a shot. Didn't have a shot off target or on target. This is the start of the second half, and straight away you got a sense there's something happening here. They're higher up the pitch. Denmark are starting to drop off. They'd made their few subs at this stage. This was Munier with the cross. Thielmans with the cross and Munier with the header. He'd be disappointed. Listen, he should be hitting the target, should be scoring that header. But it was a start, a sign of what maybe was to come. Here's Lukaku driving down through the middle again where he loves to be. De Bruyne drops to him. It's one where he won't be delighted with his end product. And this again was right near the end of the game. Munier with the breakaway when Schmeichel had gone up to try score an equaliser in the 95th minute. But that was, it wasn't the game I expected. It wasn't the amount of chances I expected for Belgium. But again, like good top teams do, they did enough and won the game.
And in that second half, Denmark came very, very close, we must remember, to actually eking out an equaliser, Damien. There were a couple of chances, particularly towards the end, where they nearly got back into it.
Yeah, definitely. Belgium's goals aside, Peter, Denmark have had the better chances in the second half.
Yeah.
They kept probing. They obviously made substitutions. Braithwaite getting involved. Thomas Delaney be disappointed here because he is an attacking, goal-scoring midfielder. Belgium sitting back in here. Wide centre-back, not keen. Alderweireld for Tongan all night, not keen on following players in. Melee, the full-back, obviously playing wing-back today, cutting in on his right foot. I thought he was played really good all day today. I was impressed with him. And breaking down the right-hand side. Cornelius, coming on, and Braithwaite snatching at a chance. Listen, he's not a renowned, goal scorer, but there was so many impressive performances up the top end of the pitch, and they were very, very unlucky not to score. This is what I'm talking about, the back three denier, not really getting close for Tongan, not getting close. You forget for Tongan's being let go by Spurs, he's allowed to move on. Alderweireld, hasn't had a great time there either. So I'd worry about the back line going forward into the knockout stages when they're up against real pace, the type, Mbappe, the speed of which Italy play with. I think they could cause them real problems. Here we are the last couple of minutes, Braithwaite just nicking off the bar. So they were a constant threat throughout the game, the first 45 and the second 45. But listen, it just hasn't been their tournament for obvious reasons. Can they still qualify? Maybe. It's a long shot, but if they go and win their last game, get 3 points, they might scrape through as a best place third. But
yeah,
it was a marvellous performance from them, and they did not deserve to lose.
No, it really was, and it would be a shame in so many ways, Kevin, if they don't advance. But they've got Russia at home again in Copenhagen for their final match, and given what we've seen from Russia and what we've seen from Denmark now, playing as they can, you'd fancy Denmark to get the 3 points.
Trying to repeat that performance, trying to have those energy levels. It's difficult to do it in the next game. If Braithwaite could have finished, he did everything else in the game. He created loads. He got into good positions, good opportunities. He just couldn't get the final touch. Very unlucky with the header there. But if they had a goal scorer, I suppose every team is crying out for a goal scorer. But if they had one, they could have won that game.
Okay. Yeah, I like the way he kind of kept it general there and didn't point to the fact that he was able to introduce a few world-class players to transform that second half. What did you think, Kevin?
Yeah, that helps. Listen, he said the crowd got to the players and they were shell-shocked. I don't think it was the crowd. I think it was Denmark got to them. They got on top of him. They couldn't deal with showing him. I suppose Denmark showed him no respect, which was great to see. It's great to see a team going out against the number one team in the world, getting in their face and closing them down. And as he said, we hadn't had that in a long time. He was talking about the crowd. Well, they hadn't had someone doing that to them in a long time. And it was a great effect for 45 minutes. They couldn't keep it up for the 90. Energy-wise, very difficult to do that for 90 minutes, but still a heck of a performance.
Certainly was.